Those are pretty much the most standard industry mastering speakers. If you look at mastering studios, the most popular mastering speaker is probably this model. The tweeter is made from diamond dust that's formed into the capsule under pressure. The standard material for tweeters would have been aluminium, but then Bowers and Wilkins invented the diamond tweeter, and standard aluminium tweeter would have a resonance frequency between 25 and 28 hertz. Resonance of this material is at 80 hertz.
Definitely out of range.
No audio ever happening up there. Bass, mids, and tweeter are completely isolated from each other. It's a massive construction. You need 3 guys to carry these. Or 3 bodybuilding girls would work as well.
I'm not a bodybuilder. Can't you tell?
They're also an industry standard. I don't find near fields super critical. Everybody has his own taste. And we had some later model of Yamaha active speakers, the HS5 and the HS50. We still have them. But then one day Nick switched them out for the vintage pair of NS10 amps. They are helpful for me personally, most important. And we'll have a quick look at this. We got these old school 1990 portable stereos.
Wow.
You don't have to buy a specific model. I like these Sony ones from the 90s very much. These are pretty much one-way system. They're sounding pretty neutral. There's not much low end going on, but the trick they are doing in a mix is that when you put your basic balance and mix together on one of these devices, you don't walk into the trap that the foundation of your mix is too low for most consumer devices. If you build your mix on a thing like that, it will almost definitely work on a built-in iPhone speaker, iPad, and all those devices people use for listening. So we actually do at least 50% of our work either on this one, and then we have a modern, I would say this is the modern day high quality iPhone speaker dock, also from Bowers and Wilkins. It's the modern day equivalent to what Sony did in the 90s. And between those two, we spend at least 50% of mixing and mastering. And this is where you want to start your mix.
This is the equivalent of going to the car and putting your mix into the car to listen to it there?
Well, actually, the car has a different role these days. I think car stereos these days are the most quality listening situations people have. It's funny because hi-fi is not really a thing because people prefer the convenience of using an iPad or a computer or any of these Apple or Samsung or whatever devices. They prefer the convenience of portable devices and those little speakers and maybe a multi-room system where every room in your house would have a little speaker. They prefer this actually over high-quality audio listening. It's interesting and funny for us audio guys to watch the development, but first of all, this stuff is not too bad. And second of all, it's the market, it's how it's developed, and we have to accept it. At the same time, all I'm saying in regards to these portables is that if you start your mix on one of those, it's definitely working on all of the modern day portable devices. We still then go to the bigger speakers and make sure everybody who has a super high-end system is also getting a certain amount of stuff, especially stuff that's going on at 50 hertz or below. If a guy is a huge fan of dance music, he would have his car loaded with huge low-end stuff, and he would definitely have no problem playing back 50 hertz, 30 hertz. We absolutely make sure that these guys will have listening pleasure as well, but the difference is what's your foundation?
So hold on, so you're starting, or you suggest that you rather start on a lower device?
If you start on a portable device that doesn't even feature the 50 hertz, you have to make sure from the beginning that the kick drum is knocking, even on a little portable speaker.
So you would even do it maybe on a MacBook Pro in the internal speaker set or something?
I would do it here on this one. I mean, definitely what we're doing here will work on a MacBook speaker, but we still want to make sure. I'm not saying you could mix on any shitty, cheap speaker. That's not the thing. The mix that we're doing here will work on one of those. I still choose the Sony and the Bowers and Wilkins because they are fairly neutral. The MacBook Pro is pretty not neutral. It sounds kind of good, but it's scooping certain frequencies, boosting some stuff, and they make it kind of nice listening experience. Super bright, actually.
Yeah, because I know some mixers who just suggest to mix on either EarPods, the Apple iPod.
It's the same principle. You don't know where people discover the music. The kick needs to come through if you walk by a coffee shop that has a little shitty radio.
Yeah.
The mix has to work in every situation. It's just the order in which you do the things. And we go from portable, we start here and go to there.
Yeah.
The other way around, and we get it all the time, that people at home focus on the 50 hertz and make sure the low end is completely booming. And then most of the times it has way too much of it and it's burning some of the energy. If you have too much 40 and 50 hertz, it will still burn out, take all the energy from the weak amp that's inside these portable things.
Okay.
And then it will distort overall because of frequencies that are not even featured by the speakers.
Okay.
So, I mean, this is the physical explanation
And the whole
behind
mix
it.
will sound lifeless, taking away the
We
energy.
get it all the time
Yeah.
here. Mixes from bedroom studios at home, and they have too much bass on the big speakers and they distort on the small speakers. The way we work in our master feedback process, first step, make sure your low end is kind of neutral so we can shape it in the mastering process here. Then the guys give us stuff like kick, bass, and the critical stuff in separate stems, and we can then really go back on these different systems.
Okay, so I have a question. So if somebody works in their home studio and they know already that they will send it off to you
Yes.
later.
Yes.
So how do they approach the mix in the best way possible?
Do not mess with any stuff that you know your room can't display. I mean, if you don't have a treated perfect room, pretty sure there will be some errors in your room, probably under 300 hertz, but definitely under 100 hertz. So I would say, especially on the kick drum and bass, for most genres, it's really important that the kick drum is tuned to the key the song is in, and then just leave any bass boost completely alone. If you feel there's not enough bass in your mix, maybe turn up the bass, turn up the kick, or you're not happy with your kick, try a different kick, but try to leave the low end completely neutral. It could be that the frequency you're boosting is not featured in your room, so maybe your room can't show 40 hertz, and then you would boost 40 hertz at 12 dB because you just don't hear it because it's not happening in your room. So just keep it neutral. We can go into detail, and we hear half a dB sometimes at 30, 40 hertz. We can adjust it.
But then also, maybe some people in their home studios don't know which frequencies show or not.
It's always worth putting up a test mic and recording a frequency sweep, but it's very tricky. If you have a lot of bass traps in room treatment, it's more controllable than before.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then me standing here and me standing here, the two frequency graphs could look completely different.
Oh, yeah, okay. And
because
then,
the wavelengths of the reflection changes with every little inch you're moving, and it's completely not under control.
Okay, so it's not even suggestible that you just put up your mic and go through the whole procedure of it.
Definitely worth to learn a bit about the weaknesses of your room.
Yeah,
Definitely.
okay.